Hello everybody and welcome back to the Throstlecast. Just a little bit of a note here. The Throstlecast that you're about to watch was recorded on Tuesday, that's why when I mentioned Wagner, I say he's probably going to come. Now we know that he's not coming. Also, this will be a 3-part episode because the recording cut out twice, and I can't get the podcast into one long podcast like I normally should, so the next part will be in the description, or it might be on the recommended videos next to this video. Thank you for your patience, and enjoy. Hello and welcome back to the Throstlecast, a Throstlecast with the classic intro music. So, today we have the 2020-2021 season review. Been a bit of a while coming because I've been spending hours making it. No, I've just only got around to doing it today. And we've heard a bit of news about Wilder, and that's not the news I think we thought we were going to hear. We thought we'd be hearing that it was close to, finalising, but it looks like it's going to be Wagner. I think that's a discussion for another edition of the Throstlecast. I think at this time we probably need to take another episode to talk about that, because there is a lot of stuff to talk about. But today we're going with a season review. This might be a bit of a long podcast. We're going to go through every game. We're not going to give like a 20-minute summary, otherwise it would be like 3 or 4 hours long. We're going to give like a quick summary of every game, the signings, how I thought they did, the players, how I thought they did. It's just going to be no full season review. Maybe even talk about my goal of the season, my moment of the season, but we'll do that at the end. So first we're starting off with the games. We'll integrate that to the new signings, and then at the end we'll go through the players, and we will also go through the goals and the moments. So starting off today, we have the first signing, which was Matheus Pereira on the 18th of August for £8 million. Now this wasn't an especially surprising deal. We all knew this was happening pretty much from December, maybe even November time of 2019. We knew this signing was going to happen, and it did. And it was what turned out to be a great signing. I was really happy with this. I think £8 million, I think we all knew that was probably less than his value at the time. I think his value at the time was about 12 or 13 million at least, and now it's like, I would say 30, maybe even 40 million for Pereira. And then we go on to the a signing that was not expected whatsoever, and that is Grady Diangana. I'm not going to lie, I was absolutely delighted when this signing was announced. I remember being on Twitter, not really expecting much, even just seeing the John Percy article, and it was like, it was just so amazing. It was such a good signing. I think we were all delighted with it. It was announced that, and it was such a quick signing, because if you think of some of the deals we've pulled off recently, they have taken weeks to complete. Carl Grant, which we'll get onto in a bit, took weeks to complete that signing, and Grady Diangana seemed like it would take ages. It took a few days. It went from, I don't know, something like, I think it might have been Wednesday we heard it. Thursday, Friday we heard more, like Saturday it was announced. Something like that. It moved really quickly, especially as it was at the start of the transfer window. Okay, it was probably about 10 days before the game, 11 days, maybe even 9 days before the first day of the season. But it just happened all so quickly. Also around that time, and I think we might have known about Kipre before Diangana, but it was the signing of Cedric Kipre, and I was definitely very happy about this. I thought him and Ajayi would be a really good partnership not really good, but would be a decent partnership in the Premier League. It hasn't worked out. He hasn't played a single minute this season, but I think he could be a big player for our future. So it was Kipre and Diangana, went off to a good start, and then the next day we signed David Button, another decent signing. Not as good as keeper Indiana and Pereira, you know, not as good as those really at the time, and he's not been as good, but he's been the backup goalkeeper, and when called upon, he's done a good job, I thought. So for £1 million, I think that was a decent deal. Also, around this time, actually about a few days before this, looking at it, was Jonathan Lecco leaving for Birmingham. I was a little bit not. I thought maybe we could have loaned him out again because he had a good year at Charlton, getting like 5 goals, 4 assists in 21 games. That's good numbers. That's around the kind of Grady Dean Garner numbers. Well, on goal contributions per game. But I don't think any of us were devastated when he left. There's certainly been. I think I was a lot more annoyed when I heard we were releasing Diaby than I was Lacko. Because with Diaby, I thought he'd done a really good job not a really good job, but he'd scored the goals in the youth team, and we just never gave him a chance. We never loaned him out, and that's another problem that I think might talk about in another podcast, is the lack of loaning players like Harper. Okay, went to Birmingham, but loaning Edwards out. Edwards should have been going out on loan the last 2 or 3 seasons to be playing every week. This season, he's played like 6 times in the Premier League. One of them against Brighton, I thought he did a very good job against. But let's move on, because we're going on to a tangent. And on the 9th of September, we signed Callum Robinson on a swap deal with Oliver Burke. We had Dean Garner, Keeper, Button and Robinson all done within 5 days. That's not the Albion we know. The Albion we know drags deals out for weeks. We got that done in 5 days, and I think Robinson worked out for both parties very well. I think Robinson wasn't going to fit in at Sheffield United, and Burke wasn't doing well for us. It made sense for them to be swapped, and I think we got the better of that deal. I think Burke has been better for Sheffield United than he was for us, especially when you look at Burke in the Premier League. Burke's been okay, but I think Robinson has really shown his quality, scoring goals against Chelsea and Southampton. But 5 goals for the Premier League, even if 4 of them came in 2 games, it's been a decent return, especially, you know, given that we swapped him for a player that was never going to score 5 goals for us in the Premier League this season. Maybe he might be. I saw a West Brom fan on Twitter at the start of the season say this would be Burke's big year and he could do something. Maybe he would have done. Maybe, you never know. But then we got onto the first game of the season, which was a game at Leicester City at home on a Sunday. I think we were all a bit more optimistic about this than what it transpired. I think we thought Dean Garner would be better than he would be. He was poor against Leicester. Pereira didn't really look all too inspiring, unfortunately. Soyes and Livermore didn't look too good. It was just disappointing. The first half was okay because we kind of kept Leicester back. We didn't really have any chances. We had like 2 chances. One was Pereira blazing it over the bar, and the other one, I think it just could. It was only a thing that came in the box, ball that came in the box, and it's just Leicester not being able to clear the lines, I think. And I think Robinson, I think it hit his hand, but if he managed to control it, he might have scored. But it was just a half chance like that. Second half, yeah, that was poor. That was a really poor second half. Went 1-0 down. Stupid goal to concede. Cross into the box. Maybe Johnston could have done a bit better collecting his area, but probably not. It was just a really poor goal to concede, and after that we collapsed. We didn't look interested. It was very depressing, really. We kept them out. We looked defensively okay for most of the game. Okay, they had a few chances, especially Harvey Barnes, ex-West Brom loanee. But it was disappointing. And then we went on to Harrogate in the Cup. Simple game, not really going to cover too much about it. Harper and Robson Cardew scored 2 good goals. Edwards lovely bit of skill to T. Robinson. So yeah, decent win, 3-0 against Harrogate in the Carabao Cup, but unexpected win. You know, Button I think made his debut. Keeper made his debut. His only game for us so far, unless he played against Brentford in the cup. I don't know. We then travelled to Merseyside, to the glorious Goodison Park, which unfortunately will be being knocked down soon. And we went 1-0 up with Greater Dean Garner, and things started to look good. Dean Garner was immense that day. It seemed like we had brought an absolute superstar into the side. It just seemed like that would be the Dean Garner we wanted, but even better. That's the Dean Garner we were expecting to get in the Premier League, but even better. And he's never really lived up to the heights that he set against Everton that day, scoring a lovely opening goal. And then at the second half, I think this is an unpopular opinion among our fans, and that's that Johnston was very poor that day. I think the first goal, he should have been doing better to come off his line. Second goal, okay, I'll give it to him. I'll give it to Johnston there. James Rodriguez, a lovely shot. He couldn't have done anything with that. Going off a slight note, Gibbs obviously got sent off, and Bilic got sent off. Yeah, it wasn't the best day after that. And then it was so disappointing going